National denominations are obsolete. Now, that might sound like an extreme statement or some kind of anti-connectional Christianity statement, just kind of propping up those Lone Ranger type churches, but that's not what I'm talking about at all. I believe in connectional Christianity. I believe that churches should cooperate relationally with one another to move the kingdom forward. The problem is, we are stuck in North America with a denominational model that would have worked really well for a 1962 national nonprofit. Basically, denominations were gathered around or organized around a big publishing house. Each one had one, Cokesbury, Augsburg Fortress, whatever. And these publishing houses produced print matter, and print matter was essential for group activity up until very, very recently. And it was very high quality. It was cradle to grave. There were beautiful hymn books and all kinds of print material, devotional stuff, VBS, Sunday school, youth group, fill in the blanks. And it was a really good system. And also, denominations provided through seminaries an endless stream of young, hungry talent that really was going out to prove something and try to move the kingdom forward, that sort of young, idealistic kind of way of looking at the world. We've all remembered, those of us old enough, young pastors showing up on internship, ready to change the world and get things going. Well, seminaries are a fraction of the size they used to be. And over half of the students are second career students, and so they've only got like a 15-year runway for a career. And it used to be that you'd get people in their 20s, late 20s at the latest, coming out of seminary and ready to run a church. And those people gave us a lot of vitality and energy. And with the shift in leadership to older and older people, it's attracting older and older people and less open to the needs of young people. And we see that in churches all over the place. So we've got the demise of the big publishing houses that really haven't kept pace with the communication revolution. The thing I'm using to film right now did not exist. And we've moved to a digital age. Communication has changed. Ask anybody who owns a newspaper. And so print is no longer the center of our lives together, and church organized around print material has no future in terms of any kind of demographic strength whatsoever. And so the idea of having this wonderful publishing thing, which really was wonderful, is gone, as is the seminary pipeline of leadership, as is denominational loyalty. Now, this might sound crass, but local churches were sort of on a franchise model where more or less they paid a franchise fee in order to put McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, whatever on their sign. And what I mean by that is United Methodist Church, Lutheran, Presbyterian, Baptist, and it gave a sort of air of, shall we say, respectability to the church. Everybody wanted to have good branding. Well, the next generation of young adults, those younger than me, have no denominational loyalty. It doesn't even enter their mind. So the three major things that denominations were able to provide, which was fantastic print material around which we could organize our group activity and educate people and socialize people into our way of doing things, and make sure that the young people ended up growing up in the church and knowing what's going on. The print thing is gone. The pipeline is shriveled. And the idea of the denomination asking congregations to pay for branding, nobody does that. In fact, right here in Southern California, if you see a church that ends in the name Point, Cross Point, Meeting Point, whatever, it's probably Baptist, because Point is a euphemism here for Baptist, because people take the word Baptist off of their signs because it actually has a negative connotation missionally for a lot of unchurched people here in California. So basically what I'm saying here is that denominations are not evil. They've just run their course. They offer nothing to local congregations, and they have actually contributed to the demise of local congregations by not providing leaders, by not providing fresh branding that's been upgraded, the product line, and also by missing the communication revolution. Now, what's happening is if churches start to notice this, local churches, they want out, and the denominations generally sue them or try to fight for the property because since they're not growing anymore, and this has nothing to do with theology. The Southern Baptist Convention and the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod are quite conservative, and they're going over the same demographic cliff as the more evangelical churches. So it's not a matter of just, if we got the theology right, let's form a national denomination with good theology and then things will be fixed. Well, that's not happening. You look at all the churches that have broken off of the main denominations to create a conservative denomination, and they're facing the same demographic issues and the same obsolescence issues that the more mainline churches are facing. So really, it's not a matter of theology. If we just get our theology straight, then people come back to church. Well, no, the model itself is broken. So what is the solution? The solution is to trust that the church is going to outlive this. The church is going to make it. The church is going to survive, because the church is the most durable and tough organization, the most resilient organization in the history of the world. The church is going to make it. But the church won't look like it did in 1962, when print was king, when seminaries were full with eager young people, and where denominational sign out in front of your church meant something and drew people to the church. That's gone. So we really need to, very quickly, if we can, bury the denominations and let local churches form relational connectivity with churches that they're learning from. And we need to look at those churches, and there's 200,000-300,000 churches in the United States. We need to look at the churches that are doing well and do more of that, and do less of what some churches are doing and ending up with nothing but 70-year-olds in their church. So we really do need to pay attention to those best practice churches at this point, because they are going to pave the way to the future. And I am optimistic, actually, about the future of the church. I am not optimistic about the future of national denominations. So I'd invite you to pass this on to any church leaders that you know. I don't have all the answers, but I'm pretty good at analyzing what's going on, because I've been very active in church for many, many decades and grew up in a pastor's family. And I've watched this whole transition from these vital organizations nationwide to remnants of what they used to be. And it's time to shed that old skin and to grow a new model. And I don't know exactly what that model is going to be, but I do know that it's going to be led by next generation people who are in churches that are already doing best practices. Let's pay attention to what they're doing and do more of what works and less of what doesn't.